Here we go. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in another edition of the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by YouWager.eu. It is where America bets, as sure as hell where this show bets. And coming up in just a few, we'll give you an opportunity to go ahead and line shop. Go ahead, open up an account at YouWager.eu. Get yourself a 50% sign-up bonus. We are loaded today, as most of us were loaded last night, hoping that we were going to see a monster of a national championship game. And quite honestly, if you were playing the drinking game where every time Clemson scored, you take a drink, you probably didn't make it into work today. That was a ass-whooping of epic proportions last night as Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers took care of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And all of those that were raising their hand and screaming and yelling over the past few months how Alabama could actually beat, you know, like the Tampa Bay Bucks or or the Giants and how they could beat the Raiders. Yeah, you are definitely loaded and hungover today. I'm sure of that. That was unbelievable. Those of you that had the money line, those of you that took the points with Clemson, congratulations. You are cashing tickets. You are much happier today, more happier than those that took Alabama and the -3 in the first half. That was a whooping, folks. I don't know how else to put it. That was a total ass whooping. But we move on. Why? Because now that football, for the most part, college football is over, March is just around the corner, and we've got some college basketball to focus on, and nobody better to get us all caught up with what you guys have missed, and also some games on the card tonight that we want to get you some information on. So nobody better than our friend Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com. He'll be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. Going to get him all squared away with up to date. What have you missed? If you've been concentrating on football for most of the season and you kind of want to transition into March Madness, Ralph is the guy to get you there. Not to mention he is the $2 capper today at Wagertalk.com, which means you have an opportunity to go get Ralph's knowledge, pick his brain. Not just Ralph, but any capper really over at Wagertalk.com. It's $2 Tuesday at Wagertalk. So we'll give you all the information. You'll hear from Ralph in just a couple of minutes. TrendyBets.com, those guys over 60% with their free NBA play of the day. That is coming your way also in just about 60 minutes. We'll let you know who they like on tonight's card. Also, those of you that follow the show, we love this show is all about introducing you guys to different cappers, different guys that do the work from around the country, have you an opportunity to be able to get to know some of these guys. And so what we do on the show from time to time is we call it Meet a Capper. And what we'll do is we'll find a capper on gambling Twitter who is passionate, who is transparent, who does the work, who brings something a little unique to the table, but unfortunately is getting drowned out with all the noise and all the other so-called cappers that surround social media. And today we're going to introduce you to a great guy, Jack Robinson. He is... This is somebody you guys are going to want to get to know. It's somebody that you guys are going to want to tail on not only Twitter, but he runs one of the best Facebook capping groups out there, and you guys are going to learn about that. You're going to hear from him. That is coming up in just about 35 minutes or so. And also, we are going to talk to our friend Alphonse Sidney, Miami Heat beat, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We're going to get caught up on a little NBA and a little Miami Heat action here. The Miami Heat, are they still a number 5, number 6, number 7 seed? Have they lived up to expectations thus far throughout the year? And nobody better to talk to Miami Heat than our good friends at the 5 Reasons Sports Network, the Miami Heat Beat podcast, Alphonse Sidney. He'll be chiming in as well. So we are loaded. We got plenty to get to here, so buckle up. Let's have some fun, and let us thank here our good friends at Miami Acura who sponsored the show and make this possible, and we want to appreciate them and let you know that if you are in the market for a new or certified vehicle this first quarter, these would definitely be the guys for you to go and check out. MiamiAcura.com. Take the test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. The truck pretty much drives itself, completely redesigned, and maybe the best part about that car would be the price. And the prices, don't know how long those end-of-the-year savings are going to extend into 2019. So do yourself a favor and head to MiamiAcura.com. Whether it's a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, there's only one place to go, MiamiAcura.com. Those of you in the 305 who know who Pitbull is, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay is where you can catch him, or just set up an appointment. Call him at 855-564-4669. The best bet? Go to MiamiAcura.com. Don't do anything else before visiting them, and go get the car that you finally wanted, only at a price you never thought possible. MiamiAcura.com. Coming up in 35 minutes, Meet a Capper. Jack Robinson will join us. But first... Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Hope you guys have recovered from the national championship beatdown yesterday by Clemson. That means, of course, that college football is over. Football season, for the most part, is over. And that means March is, 2 months away. So if you haven't spent any time catching up or understanding what's happening in college basketball, we've got the guy for you today to do just that. Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And Ralph, before we dive into some college basketball here, your thoughts quickly on what you witnessed last night. I mean, congratulations on the show last week. You were leaning Clemson the whole time, and you were kind of alone on that island.
Well, there were a lot of people out here in Vegas that had Clemson. Obviously, the line came down a little bit. And truly, I mean, when you have these two teams, in any sport, you talk baseball, you talk the NFL, it's tough to win back-to-back championships. So when you have the same teams knocking each other off each year, you have that team that's been sitting for 12 months with a chip on their shoulder, and they were a dog. And we've seen it. We've seen Clemson, then we saw Alabama gain revenge last year, then we saw Clemson regain revenge this year. And, for those football fans, I'll tell you what, it's going to be part 4 for the championship and part 5 next year, the way it looks. These two teams going into next year are clearly the creme de la creme. The SuperBook opened up odds. Bama was 5-2. Clemson was 9-5. And the next team on that list were 12-1 or higher. Clemson, I think, is going to be a little behind. I think Bama is going to be by far the superior team. Clemson loses a lot on both the D-line and the O-line, including all 4 defensive line starters probably get drafted in the first or second round. 3 will go in the first round. Bama has much more coming back, and, of course, 2 will be back as well. So I think Bama the significant favorite to next year, but we very well can see, and most likely we'll see those 2 teams again.
And it was funny, Ralph, I looked at some of the ratings from around the country, and Clemson is starting to get some national notoriety because of all the top 10 markets that were interested in that game. We know Alabama, of course, but their city, I mean, the surrounding cities by their school weren't even in it. So, I mean, a lot of West Coast, a lot of the Midwest. Clemson is growing in popularity across this country, and they are just as big a draw, if not more, right now than the Ohio States and the Alabamas of the world.
Well, I think with last night you do have, Alabama has been a dynasty for so long that you have that love-hate. You hate to see either of these teams in it again, but what's the worst of all evils? And I think, Alabama winning another one back-to-back and how many years. I think you have the Clemson backers because of that. And the Tigers are just still a new program. People don't realize they've been doing this for a long time under Dabo Swinney, but, bringing in a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence has made them significant again, and the Tigers certainly do have the following. I would say right now, I mean, you have some new blood coming up next year, maybe with Texas, maybe with Nebraska, 20 and 25-1, but the top 8 teams are really the top 5 teams are the same as they've been: Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma. So while college football changes throughout, the creme keeps rising because they keep getting these top 5 recruiting classes.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse. You get these 4- and 5-star athletes across the country. Why would you want to go any place other than Clemson or Alabama if you have serious football aspirations? He is Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com, and write this down, Wagertalk.com. As soon as we are done here, Ralph's got something very special happening today over with our friends at Wagertalk. In fact, he is the $2 capper of the day. We're going to give you the information about how you can take advantage. For just $2, you get Ralph Michaels working in your corner today. We'll give you that information coming up. But Ralph, let's talk a little bit about a recap here, college basketball season, some of the storylines, some of the things people might have missed. I'll start in the ACC, of course, where we know Duke is Duke. There's nothing new there. Duke is a powerhouse. But maybe the surprise in the ACC is just how good everybody else is in that conference right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that conference, everyone knows Duke, everyone knows North Carolina. Most likely everyone's familiar with Virginia. I mean, losing to the first 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed is a power motivational tool this year, but they're one of the 3 undefeateds at 13-0. But then you have teams like Virginia Tech who, Virginia Tech is a team who's going to be reckoned with, and NC State at 13-1, and Virginia Tech 13-1. So a couple of those teams have played soft non-conference schedules like NC State, but the Wolfpack did go into Miami and won on Sunday, and we'll see what happens tonight when they host North Carolina. It's a game that's a toss-up, and you have that jump shooting Carolina team on the road against an NC State team that has a top 60 defense. It'll sure be interesting, but, I would say right now, if the season ended, you probably have 5 teams in the ACC that are number 1, 2, 3, or 4 seeds, and maybe even top 2 or 3 seeds the way they're playing.
Let's talk about, I guess, it's no surprise, but, it is a surprise for a lot of people. Kansas, man. Kansas is in trouble, Ralph. And every time I turn around, I'm looking at a headline. It's not good in Kansas. What's happening right now?
Well, they're 12-2. The losses are to Arizona State and Iowa State. Iowa State's the top 20 team in themselves. But, they lost a lot last year. They have a young team. You have 2 freshmen starting. You have a point guard, Devin Dotson, who's a freshman, and you're shooting forward, Quentin Grimes. Azubuike now is out for the year. That'll be a huge loss for them moving forward, especially when they go on the road. Kansas is still, a top 20 team and potentially a top 10 team. They've just played a couple games away from home against top opponents, and even in that Arizona State loss, it was a game they had won, and they ended up late losing by 4. The Iowa State game wasn't a surprise at all. Iowa State is a legitimate team that's up and coming, that returned so much this year and got everyone back from injury just recently. They'll be a force, and if Iowa State wins the Big 12, it wouldn't surprise me one iota.
Ralph Michaels joining us, Wagertalk.com. And Ralph, in the Big Ten, is it just Michigan and Michigan State and everybody else is just happy to be there? Is there anybody else that can contend there?
Oh, I think so. Clearly Michigan to me is the best team just because they have a top 5 defense in the country. Now, the problem is, do they have the scoring? We'll see what happens down the stretch. Right now, they are playing well as far as efficiency goes. Michigan State is a team that will be there. We know that. We know Izzo will have them playing defense. They've been surprising as far as their tempo goes. They're playing one of the fastest tempos in the country. That'll slow down when we get to conference play. Now, you also have, Indiana was a surprise pick that I bet to win the national championship. They're off to a 12-3 start. Right now, I put them in the top 40. Wisconsin's probably the only top. Wisconsin and Purdue are 2 other top 20 teams that, Purdue is 9-5, and people look at that 9-5 and think that they're not a good team. But all 5 losses were to top 80 teams. 4 of those losses were away from home against top 25 teams: Virginia Tech, Michigan, Texas, and Florida State. So when you're sitting at 9-5, people tend to think you haven't played well. Well, you just played one of the toughest schedules in the country. All your losses are away at home. Now you're going to run through your conference schedule. Michigan State tonight is a battle, and then they play Wisconsin on the road. They could potentially be 9-7, and if they get that low and lose 2 and their odds drop a lot, then the time I think there'd be value betting them on them, because they're going to be in the tournament. They're going to be a top 4 or 5 seed. They still can win the Big Ten, but people tend to throw those teams under the bus when they have a record like that going into conference play.
We had talked in the beginning, Ralph, before the college basketball season took off, and we were reviewing some of the conferences. I remember here on the show, we had both agreed that the SEC is, without a doubt, maybe it's up there. It's either the number 1 or number 2 conference when it comes to depth and quality of teams. And you had mentioned, keep your eye, I mean, we're all used to Kentucky, but all of a sudden Tennessee's the real deal this year, but they still got that depth in the SEC that you have to go, 6 deep in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee is a top 10 teams with Barnes this year. There's no question. Their only loss on the season was to Kansas in a neutral setting. Tennessee is a team that has 3 juniors and 2 seniors. So you never have an issue when you're going in with all upperclassmen playing, and those are the kind of teams that can win on the road. They have a great offense. They have a very good defense. I think they are the most solid team there is in the conference. But, right now, you have Auburn, Auburn's can run the table. Auburn can have 25 wins. Mississippi State is also a team that a lot of people aren't talking about. They're 12-1. They're a top 20 team in my book. And if they play a little better defense down the stretch and get their defense gelling, they can be one of those upper seeds as well. Top to bottom, what's surprising is, I think the ACC has the best top 4 teams, because when you have North Carolina, Duke, Virginia Tech, Virginia, you have 4 teams in the top 10. I think the SEC has the best top 8 teams. When you have Tennessee and you go down to Mississippi and even LSU, you have a team tonight that, in LSU is starting to make a big push with a couple freshmen they got in. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. But if you just say who's the best conference as far as average power rating goes, I would say you would have to say the Big 12. The reason being, you only have 10 teams in the Big 12, and when your worst teams in the conference are Oklahoma State and West Virginia and Baylor, there's something to be said for that. So, it depends on your conferences. Top-heavy SEC, top-heavy ACC, top 6 teams Big 10, top 8 teams SEC, top to bottom highest average is the Big 12, led by Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas, and Texas. And again, your worst team, Oklahoma State, is probably like a top 90 team in the league at 6-8 so far this year.
That's why we turn to him. Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com, college basketball god known in these parts here, and a great opportunity for you to take advantage of Ralph's knowledge here in college hoops. When you head over to Wagertalk.com today, he is the $2 today capper, and we've got some information coming up with you on some plays tonight and how you guys can take advantage of it for simply $2. You can start to make it a profitable 2019 with Wagertalk and Ralph Michaels. And Ralph, I get your thoughts on the Big East, because you and I, again, we spoke earlier before the season started. I had asked you, being a New York guy myself, St. John's, are they on the comeback? And, to your credit, you went, I don't know. They just weren't very good. I don't know how good they're going to be. How surprised are you at the resurgence of St. John's right now?
Well, when you have a player like Pons, obviously you can he's going to keep you in a lot of games and make sure that you're there. The concern with me is this. As we mentioned, there are 353 teams in Division I. St. John's may very well be 14-1, but they've played a schedule of about 320. They've played one of the 30th easiest schedules. Make it 338 as I'm looking up the actual number. So only 15 teams have played an easier schedule than St. John's. I only have St. John's as a top 40 team right now, even though they are 14-1. They lost to Seton Hall on the road. They did play Georgetown on the road, and they won that game in overtime, a game they came back. But, I expect them to lose to Villanova tonight. And when they go on the road to Butler, Creighton, they have a game at Duke this year. There's going to be some losses there. It'll be the season. I think is really going to come down to a stretch in February where they host Villanova, Seton Hall, and Xavier, where they're going to be on the fringe there of being a very good team. Even if you lose your teams against those quality opponents on the road, you're going to be a home dog in a few of those games, and you have to make sure you win those to make it to the top level. They, right now, as I said, Shamari Pond's one of the top players in the country. And when they find a team that can shut down and has a good point guard, if Pond has to play a team that has a good point guard and has to play defense, I think that's where his offense will start to struggle, and I think that's where St. John's may have some issues. But they're not a very good rebounding team, and like I said, an easy schedule right now. They haven't been tested. Their top non-conference game was against a team, VCU, which they won in overtime, and VCU is like a top 60 team. They're not a tournament team. So when that's the best team you've played prior to going to conference play, what have you shown me? Well, you've shown me you can beat weaklings, but, the Big East Conference, almost every team in the conference is better than that VCU team that they played, with the exception of DePaul. So, they'll be in for some tough sledding, and we'll just see. This is the kind of team that can go either way. 14-1 can turn into close to a 500 record. 14-1 can turn into a 24-7 season, depending on. So I'm still not sure of St. John's.
Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com. The one conference we didn't talk about, maybe we saved them for last because they are last. It is a hot mess. What is going on with the Pac-12? Pac-12 basketball should not be this bad, should it, from top to bottom?
Well, here's a Pac-12 football stat for you. In the last 3 years in bowl games, Pac-12 teams are now 3-18 against the spread. Pac-12 as a conference, clearly Big 12 ahead of them, Big 10, ACC, SEC, Big East. I would almost put the American Conference ahead of them right now, and the West Coast is even close. You have a Pac-12 team whose top team right now, I wouldn't have anyone in the top 40. Wow. And you want to talk about, just being crazy. Arizona's 11-4. They certainly have their issues. Oregon is a team that I probably would have had in the top 40, but they lost their best player in Bol, Manute Bol's son. He's now out for the year, I believe. So, you have a team right now that may only very well send their champ, and that's it. And, I don't think there's a worse insult in the world than saying you're a Pac-12 team and you only got the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. We'll see if someone comes out and can make a run in conference play. But if the season ended right now, I foresee that with the Oregon injury that they would be a one-team bid into March Madness.
And when we look at the mid-majors, it's really it's Gonzaga or who else? Who else in the mid-majors do you think can compete here in March?
Well, there's no question. Nevada lost to New Mexico. They lost bad. They lost by 27 on Saturday to a not very good New Mexico team. But that New Mexico team did change some schemes and may have caught Nevada by surprise. And let's admit, Nevada has a bullseye around their back doing what they did. Last year Nevada in the tournament beat Texas, beat Cincinnati, ended up losing to Loyola Chicago. They're a much better team this year with 5 starters that could start for almost every Pac-12 team. So Nevada is a team that will clearly be there even if they don't win the conference, which is rare to say because we know how many times we've seen Missouri Valley conferences or other conferences that only have that automatic bid. It can never get that second team in. St. Mary's got left out with Gonzaga last year as well. But Nevada will be in. And, other than that, besides Gonzaga, who I just bet Gonzaga yesterday as as a national championship bet on a future.
Wow.
Right now, I think with who they got back right now, if I had to pick a winner, if I was filling out a bracket today, I would pick Gonzaga to win it. So anyone out there that's thinking about coming to Vegas or wants to bet a future on a team, Gonzaga, you could still get it 8 to 9 to 1 right now. So a very good price for them. But, you know, outside of those two teams in any of the mid-majors, the only other team that has potential to get in would be Buffalo. You know, Buffalo is a team that beat Arizona last year in the tournament, has almost all their starters back. C.J. Massenberg, their shooting forward, can compare to any in the country. You've got a junior point guard in Levante Jordan, who is just awesome. Their only loss was on the road at Marquette. They're going to be 26-5, 27-4, 28 wins in that range. And if they happen to lose in the MAC finals, I would have them in as well.
I have, Ralph, I've got a list here of some of the most profitable teams ATS so far. I'm going to read them to you, and I want you to tell me which one of these surprises you and which one doesn't surprise you. You've got ATS now. Samford, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, East Tennessee State, and Hofstra are just killing it this year, ATS. Which one of those teams doesn't surprise you? Which one of them did you not see being this profitable?
Well, you know, Oklahoma, did you mention Oklahoma?
Yes, Oklahoma, 12-1-1.
Oklahoma's 12-1-1 against the spread, yeah. Oklahoma, you know, surprised me. They had the talent there, but, you know, last year was just so non-Lon Kruger-like. Obviously, you know, Trae Young did what he had to do. Trae Young comes down, Trae Young runs a jump shot. They don't set up an offense. They didn't set up a defense. And when teams down the stretch learned how to stop Trae Young, what happened? He lost 6 or 7 straight games, you know, and finished 18-14, and then lost to Rhode Island in the first round of the tournament. Well, this year they're learning how to play as a team, and they're a very good team. Their defense is now a top 10 team. So they surprised me to a degree because I didn't think they would be this good. I think once Lon Kruger got his system back in place, you know, there's some teams that having a one-year wonder is great. Kentucky's used to it. Duke is used to it. But a team like Oklahoma wasn't used to it. They were a team effort, and then they get 1 year with Trae Young in there. Now they go back to that team effort, and they're good. And then you look at Mississippi, and while I'm surprised because of what they've done, I mean, Mississippi last year was a 12-20 team. They didn't have a huge recruiting class. A closer look just shows how good of a coach Kermit Davis is. Kermit Davis is his first year at Ole Miss. He was at Middle Tennessee for 15 years. This Middle Tennessee's team the last 3 years, 25-8, 31-5, 25-10. So, and again, surprised at Ole Miss being there, but at a closer glance, again, Kermit Davis just deserves the props that he didn't get at Middle Tennessee, getting a decent team to a very good record. Now he's got quality talent, and he's taking it to the next level. Stanford is a team that, you know, played well against non-conference foes. They're going to struggle in the favorites role. They were a very good dog. They're a 3-point shooting team. They scored points to keep it close in a lot of games. They're a team that was under the radar. I can't say I was surprised or not surprised because when there's 353 teams, you know, you could follow 100 some closely, the major conferences, and there's those smaller teams where they come out and play very well, and you know they just catch you because they got a transfer or two, or they got a couple guys who were not very highly recruited but have blossomed their senior year in high school and just become better players.
He is Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com. Before we get into some of the leans here tonight, some of the analysis on the games, let's talk about this $2 capper, Ralph. If folks head over to Wagertalk.com right now, they head over to the Cal Sports page there. What are they going to be hit with, and what can they get for $2?
Well, every Tuesday at WagerTalk, not only me, but every Tuesday there's a $2 capper. So it's a great way for you to try a capper. If you've never used a service or are not familiar with it, it's that simple. You're getting my top play for today. It's either a strong 4-star or a 5-star play, which is my top-rated play, depending on what your line is. The line's moved a little bit, but you're still paying $2 for a quality play. And then when you buy that play, you're also going to get a coupon to get my next 7 days for under $10 a day. So we know football's on a 21-1 run. You'll get my playoffs this weekend. You'll get my basketball if you want to continue on and try me for a week, or if you just want to try for one day. Again, that's a $2 charge at wagertalk.com.
Can't go wrong. Wagertalk.com. Go take advantage of it today. Try Ralph out. If you guys who are just meeting him for the very first time, you're hearing him right now. Great opportunity for you to take advantage of his knowledge, his expertise. For $2, head over to Wagertalk.com. Do that today. All right, Ralph. Now, tonight on the card, I know, and for those of you, again, who are just meeting Ralph, when it comes to situational handicapping, when it comes to technical handicapping, this is your man. And there are some games on the card here tonight, Ralph, where I think you got a situational you're looking at, you got a technical. Talk to us a little bit about some of these games tonight.
Well, trends and angles are fun, and while I really don't use them that much to handicap, I look at them because it's a guide. I'm going to give you a couple games tonight where they're good technical plays, which means one side has a positive and the other side has a negative. But even though I'm going to give you these and the records sound good, I want to preface it by saying I am never going to base a play just on two angles. If it gets you looking at the game and the matchups fit and everything else fits, then yes, you can use it as a play. But I know our listeners love these trends and angles, and they're fun. So, 3 games I'm going to mention before I get to my situational technical plays, which are games I like. Iowa State is 4-13 over-under their last 17 games. Baylor is 1-7 over-under their last 8 games, and 10-26 over-under at home. So obviously that play would be Iowa State Baylor under the total tonight in Big 12 action.
Love that. I think
a second one.
I think it's 136. If I'm looking at it correct, Iowa State -3 over/under 136 at this game.
Moving to the SEC. Mississippi State 7-1 ATS on the road. We mentioned Mississippi State into the SEC now, and I think they're a top 20 team. Well, they are 7-1 ATS their last 8 road games. Meanwhile, South Carolina is 0-7 ATS at home their last 7 games. So again, you have a team that has lately played well on the road and covered against a team that has failed to cover a game at home in 7 straight games. Finally, in the Big 12, again, a team we just talked about, Oklahoma, 12-1 against the spread. Texas Tech gets a lot of love. I make Texas Tech the favorite right now in the Big 12, but they are a defensive team, and there's a lot of close games. Oklahoma 12-1 ATS their last 13 games. Texas Tech 1-7 ATS their last 8 games. Again, they won most of those games. They just don't get the margin to cover.
And preface it one more time. Remember, these are great angles. These are great. I mean, they're fun, but they're not the end-all, be-all when making a decision here, Ralph.
They're not. Again, to be honest with you, I have none of those 3 plays on my card today. I have 3 plays for my customers. They're fun to look at. I do look at them when we're looking at plays, but there's other reasons. Excuse me. Those games weren't strong enough to be a play. Now we're going to finish this up with my situational and technical plays. These are games that I like because there's more thought put into them. The situational play, I can tell you, is my free play at WagerTalk, and it is actually one of my 3 plays tonight for my customers. This is one of my top 3 plays, and it's on Ball State. They're -11.5 or 12 against Eastern Michigan. You have a situation where Eastern Michigan, the MAC is strong in the East. You have Buffalo. Buffalo's a premier team. But when you look at the other division, you had Eastern Michigan, Toledo, and Ball State. All 3 of those were picked in the top of the conference. So Ball State should be laying more than they are today. Ball State is playing great ball. They have a pair of SEC transfers. They're 10-4 this year, but all 4 losses were at home, 3 of them against top 20 teams in Virginia Tech, Purdue, and Alabama, and the other in Evansville. They're number 12 in effective offense field goal percentage. They're number 58 in defense. You look at Eastern Michigan, completely disappointed. They're a team that's banged up. They haven't been completely healthy. They only have 6 wins on the year. 4 of those wins were against lower division teams. They weren't even part of the 353 Division II teams. The other 2 wins came against Drexel and Boston, teams that are about 220 and 270 out of the rankings. They're number 333 in effective field goal percent on offense, 295 in defense, and they're number 351 out of 353 in free throw percentages. So even if they go to the line, they're shooting at such a bad clip. So Ball State, game number 620 tonight, is my situational play.
I'm writing this down. Ball State, you got it. That's your situational right there. Ball State tonight, and it is currently, I think, 11.5, Ralph. You're right about that, so it hasn't moved much. 11.5. Don't be afraid to lay to wood, right? Go out there and get Ball State. Not to mention Eastern Michigan, I think, is one of the worst road teams in the history of road teams.
Well, plus you have Ball State also making their MAC opener. You remember now we're into January. The kids are back to school. The student sections are now part of college basketball again, and it's a big deal. So when you have a team like the MAC that has the support of their community, and this is their conference opener, it makes it a very big deal. Now, the technical play, we gave out some technical angles before. This is going to be a system that I look at and use, and a system is different for those that are new to sports betting. An angle or a trend is team specific. That team has done this in this situation. A system means it can be any team. It's any team that has done this has fit the mold. And when you have a situation that's 60%, that's solid. When you have a situation that has over 300 occurrences, that makes it even stronger. When you have a situation that has been over the last 11 years, it makes it a significant play. So while people are enamored with 80 or 90% angles, when you have a 11-year, 300-play system that has hit 59.7%, that's something you want to look at. And this system is, 2 games ago, you lost by over 30 points. You were completely embarrassed. What happens when a team is embarrassed? You have a huge effort to come back the next game. So if you got blown out by 30 or more 2 games ago, and in the last game you were a dog or a small favorite, it means you probably weren't supposed to win that game, or you had a battle, and you did win that game. The next game, you are only 122, 181, and 4. 40.3%.
Wow. That
fade tonight is the fade Indiana State minus the 6. That puts Missouri State in a 59.7 win situation. And again, you have to make sure, ask yourself, you're going to read systems out there, you're going to read situations, does it make sense? And to me, clearly it does. You're off a blowout. What happens after you were out of blowout and you were embarrassed? You're at home, in front of your crowd, you're a small home favorite. You give maximum effort to get back and not be embarrassed back-to-back games. Then that next game, you have to have some sort of letdown. You can't play at 100% level game in and game out. No team can do it. So embarrassed, huge situation, a little bit of a letdown, and it's worked out very well.
That's why we love him. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. You can go there right now for $2. Get his plays tonight. His card is there. You find him at the Cal Sports page at wagertalk.com. Great opportunity for you guys to utilize Ralph's knowledge, Ralph's handicapping, to be able to sit there and, hey, $2. He's got some plays tonight for you. One he likes really, really a lot. So do yourself a favor right now for $2. Go get the play, wagertalk.com. Under the handicappers page, look for Cal Sports, and you will have them. And then, and Ralph, I got some exciting. A little birdie told me that there's actually at Wager Talk coming up a possible little T&A with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, Kelly Stewart and I are good friends, and if you guys watch the Wagertalk videos, Kelly does those videos, and we made a joke once, and on the video, I'm the TNA guy because I come up with these trends and angles, and Kelly just loved it. So we're going to do a basketball show a couple times a week, a TNA show with Kelly and Ralph, and just go through some trends and angle situations, and it's more going to be a fun show. I may give out a best bet here or there, and again, we all love hearing these 15-1 and 19-1 and 21 situations, and they're fun to follow. And but it does help people. And even if you don't look at angles, when you listen and you look at these angles, and you say Oklahoma's 12-1 ATS, if they're 12-2, they're still a very good team. But that's something always can save moving forward. And why are they 12-2? Were they a good favorite? Were they a good dog? You have to look how they cover their games. And one more thing I just want to leave it at is this: 12-1 can be strong, or 12-1 can be very strong. And one thing I want to mention for people to look at is it does depend on how much you cover a spread by. If Oklahoma is 12-1 and the average cover is by 1.2 points per game, that means there's a lot of fluctuation, or there's potential for the other shoe to drop, or them to miss a basket and not cover a game. If you have a team that's 12-1 and covering by double digits, that's a team that's dominating foes. So even when you're looking at angles and you have a record, make sure you look at that record even deeper to know how strong the angle is. So every 12-1 angle is not created equal, dependent on the average cover per game or average cover per win.
That's exactly why you got spend the $2 and go give Ralph a shot. Wagertalk.com. Put that knowledge to work for you. $2 today on Tuesday, every Tuesday at Wagertalk.com. Nobody does TNA like Ralph Michaels, okay? Even Kelly Stewart will tell you that, Kelly in Vegas. Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com, $2 capper. Get to the page. Take advantage of those plays tonight and his knowledge. And Ralph, always a pleasure talking TNA with you, my friend. You'll be joining us on Thursday, getting you guys ready for the NFL divisional games. And Ralph, thank you so very much for your time, my friend. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk again on Thursday.
Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you.
You got it. Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com. Go take advantage. $2 today, Wagertalk.com. Just some great stuff from Ralph. Want to thank him so very much. Make sure you guys take advantage. You're talking about a guy that's been in this industry 30 years. He knows more than most of us have forgotten. So, well, actually, yeah, he does. He actually knows a lot more than most. And being able to utilize him and have access to him, we're very thankful for that here on the Joe Raineri Show. And we want to thank him along with all the cappers at Wagertalk.com. But take advantage for $2. Head over to Wagertalk.com now and get his plays for tonight. Some great stuff about trends, angles, situational plays, and of course technical plays. Just a whole lot of knowledge there from Ralph. And if you guys are just joining us, you didn't get a chance to see that, don't worry about it. The interviews are always housed right here on our pages. We are streaming live, of course, 5 platforms: Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. If you guys are joining us on any one of those platforms, welcome in. Thank you so very much for stopping by. It's the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by YouWager.eu. And coming up here in just a minute, we do like to present every now and then during the month. We hold a segment called Meet a Capper. We love introducing you guys to some new folks. Now, Ralph is somebody who's been doing this 30-some-odd years, but, you know, what are you supposed to do if you haven't been doing it 30 years? What if you've been doing it for the last 3, 5, 7 years? How are you supposed to be able to stand out among a very crowded arena that is the sports betting and the sports handicapping arena? Well, what we try to do is we try to find these guys across the country and present them to you and, you know, give them this platform and give them a few minutes for you guys to be able to get to know them. And and they might not have 30 years behind them, but they put in the work, and to me, that's the most important thing, the transparency and guys that put in the work. And the guy that we are going to introduce you today, Jack Robinson, he runs an amazing Facebook group that is filled with nothing but guys just like you, cappers who want to and strive to be better each and every week and try to make better sports investing decisions. And when you're around a bunch of very like-minded individuals like that, good things happen. So he is somebody I definitely want you guys to hear from, and you are going to do that coming up here in just a minute. Also, Alphonse Sidney, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, covers the Miami Heat. He's part of the Miami Heat Beat podcast. Dwayne Wade, number 2, I believe, in All-Star voting right now. Is it really deserved? Is it more of a congratulatory thing? Does he really deserve to be an all-star? We'll get caught up with the Miami Heat and the latest drama. Also, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra possibly going to L.A. There's all sorts of rumors going on with the Miami Heat. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Alphonse Sidney coming up here, bottom of the hour. Of course, we do have to thank just a few more of our sponsors that make all of this happen, including low-cost airlines, Superior Cruise and Travel, and, of course, our friends at Miami Acura. So coming up here in 93 seconds, we're going to let you meet Jack Robinson. He is our meter capper for the day. You guys are going to want to hear from him. Don't go anywhere. We will be back, I believe, right? 93? Is that what we're doing? 93 seconds, and we will be back. It is the Joe Raineri Show.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536.
Welcome back in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by YouWager.eu. It is where America bets. It's certainly where we bet, and we have talked about this time and time again. It is so important, especially those of you that had Seattle this past weekend. It is so important to shop for your lines, to make sure that you guys are getting the best number. And to do that, you've got to have a place that you go that you can trust and where the pricing and where the customer service is phenomenal. And that, friends, is YouWager.eu. So make sure you have an account at YouWager.eu. It's so simple to do. 1-800-YouWager. That's the phone number. 1-800-YouWager. Give them the code JRS50. They'll go ahead, give you a 50% sign-up bonus, and you guys will become part of the family. I mean, I'm not kidding with this here. Line shopping is so important in what we do, and you've got to have a place that So if you like hassle-free transactions, if you like great customer service and some of the best lines and pricing in the game, YouWager.eu is for you. So make sure that you guys get there. 1-800-YouWager. It's so simple. 1-800-YouWager. Just when they answer, and they do answer, and you can understand them, it's 1-800-YouWager. Give them the code JRS50. Joe Raineri Show 50. They'll go ahead and give you a 50% sign-up bonus today. Coming up here, bottom of the hour, Alphonse Sidney, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's going to join us here. We're going to talk a little Miami Heat and NBA. Also, your TrendyBets.com NBA Play of the Day. That is next. But first,
I'm at the bank making money, making moves. Machines with tools and drills, making grooves. Missions impossible, that's lotsable. I'm upside down, hanging like Tom Cruise.
hey guys, happy Tuesday, and in an effort to try and introduce you to as many quality cappers as we can around the country, we have a very special guest here today, and I'm very happy that he's got some time to stop by. He's not capping right now, but he's here to be able to introduce himself to you, and we are glad to have him. It is Jack Robinson. He's part of the Full Game Guys. He joins us via the Acura hotline. And Jack, thank you for taking some time away, my friend, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Now, let's start, I guess, from the beginning. Give the viewers, those that may not know who Jack is, what the Full Game Guys are, kind of give us a brief rundown of how long you've been doing it and where people can find you.
A brief background of what we have been doing is we started doing this about 5 years ago. It was on Facebook. And it was kind of a convoluted mess on Facebook. Nobody really knew where to go. Nobody really knew what to do. And to figure out like who's smart and who's not, we actually had to break out. We had to branch off and create our own group to be able to filter the operation down to where we can figure out think tanks and figure out bringing plays off of each other. And ended up last year creating a Facebook group called the Full Game Guys, which we put in there. We give knowledge, we give plays. Our main goal is to help people make money. That's our main goal, and what we want to do is try to help make people make money. We want to help people win. We want to make people smarter, and we want to help people learn how this sports handicapping, learn how betting, learn how gambling, learn how all of this works. So we want to break it down because here's the thing: is if we didn't go through all this process, I wouldn't give people advice and try to help them how to make themselves better. So if I didn't experience it, I wouldn't try to help them. So the only way that I can help people is to do my own thing and give them the knowledge that we have.
And I'm glad you brought this up because it's a good point to make. Those of you that might be new into the sports betting arena, or if you're just starting to get into capping, we love our gambling Twitter folks, but it's interesting on. Look, there are a number of quality groups, and they are think tanks of sorts, Jack, just like yours is, where you get a bunch of cappers in a group, in a setting like that, where you're bouncing stuff off of each other. Knowledge is power. We say it all the time here on the show. This gives people an opportunity to hear what other people are doing, how they're approaching it, and ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all trying to be smarter sports investors, and it sounds like that's exactly what the Full Game Guys is. How does somebody get there? I mean, if somebody wanted to join the group, how do they get in, Jack?
There's a link on my Twitter account. There's a link there. You can also go on Facebook and you can search the Full Game Guys, and you can join in there. It's a private group on Facebook, so not everybody can join it. It's very, very regulated, and we have it very, very regulated because there's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of cheats. There's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of people that are trying to take money from people and trying to take advantage of people that are on there, and we want to try to filter that down, and we want to streamline the whole process and try to help people out.
At Jack,
that's the whole.
Yeah, at Jack _WM his Twitter page. It's on there on the screen, at Jack_WMF. Make sure that you guys are tailing him, and from there you can apply to be in the group on Facebook, The Full Game Guys. The link is there. And Jack, if you could, if somebody is watching and again is maybe new to this, what is the one piece of advice that you would give people who are really starting to get into sports betting after this football? Moving forward, what is that one piece of advice you would give them?
The one piece of advice that I would give them is to be disciplined, be patient, and because here's the main thing about people that are just getting into this. It's like opening a Christmas present, and so you go into a game, you win $200, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this, I'm an expert, blah blah blah, and then you turn around and you lose $600. You know what I mean? The big thing that I would tell people is to be disciplined and patient, and don't spend more than you have.
Yeah.
Don't keep it all regulated. Make it like a business. I mean, if it's going to be your own business, your bankroll. This is the thing: is your bankroll. So it doesn't matter if you have $500, if you have $1,000, if you have $2,000 in a bankroll account. That bankroll is your lifeline. That's your betting lifeline. So if you lose that money, then you're dead. You're basically dead. You're basically killing yourself.
Yep.
So it's very, very important. Bankroll management is more important than the games that you bet on.
It's so true. It's so true, because you ain't got the money to bet. It really doesn't make a damn bit of difference, and that's probably rule number one is firm understanding of what bankroll management is. And you can start by tailing guys like Jack and joining groups like that, like the Full Game Guys on Facebook, where you can bounce if you're unsure of what units are and what the percentage of the bankroll, how to go about that. Then one of the good places to go would be to follow Jack on Twitter and then try to apply and get into the Full Game Guys, one of these groups on Facebook that can actually help you do that. And I'm sure that's one of the topics of conversation that you guys have in the group as well, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. We try. I mean, discipline is one of the biggest things, because here's the thing: gambling is a habit. There's no other way. It's an addiction. There's no other way you can get around it. It is what it is. There's laws against all these different things against it, like whatever. The thing is you have to be able to control it. You have to have a mechanism that you can control. That you can control the addiction. Does that make sense? Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to force yourself sometimes to walk away.
Right, that's right. So, I'm not a gambler. I'm not a bettor. What I do is I help people make money. I'm a sports investor. That's what I do. I try to whatever I do, I'm 100% confident in whatever play that I put out to the general public, that the people that are following me are going to make money off my plays. And my record stands for that. I'm 100% transparent, and I want people to know that and know what I do. So this is why one of the reasons why I'm on the show is to advance us to the next level, to where we can get into a position where we can do this, and we can help people that are maybe, if they're brand new to the betting game, if they don't know what they're doing, they can come to people like us that's not going to try to take money from them.
Yes.
We're not trying to take money from people, because when I first got into doing this, the first person, well, not really first person, but the first one of the things I saw was like a sales type ad on there. It was like, hey, lock of the week, blah, blah, blah. Hey, join us and we'll do it. So I gave a guy $50 and gave me 3 picks, and it went 1 and 2. And I was like, I thought these guys were experts, right? And that was kind of my first going into the whole operation. I was like, what is going on here? So it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this myself. Like, screw them. I'm just going to do it myself. So when I figured out how to do it myself, and I want to give this knowledge to everyone else for free.
Yep.
Because people are more important than the money. That's the thing. And people don't know. People are gullible. The public will follow what anybody says without doing any research on it on their own. That's where our group comes into play. to try to help these people.
Yeah, and that's what it. There are people out there who actually have amazing intentions that just want to help you become a better sports investor. They make money, you make money, and everybody. It is a much happier place to be in this world. All right, Jack Robinson joining us, the Full Game Guys. Make sure that you're tailing him on Twitter at Jack_WMF. All right, Jack. Let's talk about a couple of examples of how you approach your handicapping and your style. Let's take a game here tonight, for instance. I know you were talking about earlier off air, OKC versus Minnesota in the NBA. So if you could kind of quickly walk us through how it is that you approach this game here tonight.
So I'll look at this game. So basically, you call it sports handicapping, but it's really you're capping the perceptions. You're capping the public perception. You're capping the Vegas perception, and basically with tools that Sports Insights, that Sports Action, that the tools that are provided to be able to differentiate on what you can do and what you can't do. So I'll use Sports Insights like just on an NBA, like a typical NBA card like today. Like I got on here at 9 o'clock this morning, and I started running down the lines, and I was going to see. I'm looking where the sharp money's going. That's the first thing I'm going to look for when I'm looking for an NBA game. I'm going to look for where the sharp money is going, and the sharp money is on. If I'm running Oklahoma City, it's on the Thunder. So the sharp money dropped on the Thunder. See if there's any money off the timeline real quick. I don't see any spread money off the timeline yet, but I can tell that the line's already moved. There's 58% ticket right now, as we're speaking at 11:19. Well, what 12:19 there. 58% tickets, 70% money on OKC. The line is moved from 7.5 to 8. So the public is jumping. The public and the sharp are jumping on OKC. But there's a couple of things going on with this game. So you have Calvin Thibodeau just got fired from the Timberwolves, and then what I also do is I'll go through and look at the referee record. So you can talk about conspiracy theories, you can talk about rigged and guidelines and all this and all that, but they wouldn't have a stat for the NBA officials if it didn't matter. Does that make sense?
That is an absolute great point, Jack, and I'm so glad that you brought that up too. Because just because you actually are capping the referees, whether it be the NFL or basketball, it's not because you're always screaming the sky is falling and everyone is out to get us. Your point is perfect. Like they wouldn't have these statistics, they wouldn't keep them if there wasn't a serious issue or if it wasn't an angle that you have to include in your decision making of figuring out what the best bet is going to be.
But I'll step back and look at the games, and because it's very, very fluid. Like handicapping is very, very fluid. Everything changes. Like I could be on one team at 1 second, and I could be on another team at another second. It just depends on where things are moving, what Vegas is doing, what the public's doing. There's a lot of different factors that go into what I do. So, and this is why I want to try to put this out into the public arena and try to let them know what we actually do, what I actually do, and what everybody else.
So you looked at this game here tonight. You've got Minnesota, OKC. You see where the sharp money's coming in. You look at where the public money is coming in. You take into consideration the situation with the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, as well as the Oklahoma City Thunder. You look at where it's being played. You look at who the refs are in here. So when you put all that together, where does that land you?
And then we'll pull the ATS as well. So I haven't pulled ATS on them either. So I'm pulling the ATS on Thunder. Thunder have a great ATS record at home, straight up, and ATS for that. But the Timberwolves away. So Timberwolves ATS away is 8-12. Timberwolves away are 8-12 ATS. 8-12, and then Thunder are home ATS 10-8, straight up 13-5. So I'll look at that. This is a game that I would monitor. I wouldn't as an advisor. I wouldn't give anybody a play on this right now until I see what actually transpires throughout the day. So I'll start looking at these games like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'll watch them and I'll filter them down. And there's a lot of perception, there's a lot of intuition,
Right.
there's a lot of knowledge that goes in behind it. So just like the game, what was the game that we were talking about Sunday?
Well, before we get to that, though, so because there's a lot of different ways to go about this. Some cappers that we talk to, their philosophy is that they're looking for a number. They're betting numbers, not teams. We know that. So what they do is if there is a number that they like, if it's Tuesday and the game is played on Saturday, they'll lock it in. There are some other cappers who will wait until, 5 minutes before tip-off or before kickoff because they want as much information as humanly possible before making the decision. It sounds to me as if you are one of these cappers that, the number might be, I want all the information before I actually make a decision, and that may very well be right up until tip-off or kickoff.
Right. It could go all the way down until 45 minutes before the game, because there's a lot of things that can happen in between there. Just like there's examples I can give you, but you have to be able to figure out where things are going.
Okay.
And you have to look at there's some handicappers that do that. There's some other cappers that cap it all the way down to the nuts.
Yeah,
I will cap all the way down.
And there's no right or wrong. I mean, that's another thing that you want people to know is that there's no right or wrong answer. There's a lot of different ways to approach this. Some guys, they have a number that they came up with, and they'll book it as soon as they can. You've got other guys just like Jack here who he wants as much information as humanly possible. There is no right or wrong way is ultimately what the point that we want to get across here. So this is a game right now tonight, OKC, Minnesota, that you wouldn't necessarily at this point as of taping, you wouldn't say, hey, pick a side, this is who I like. You're looking for a little bit more information to be able to make your decision. Now, what about this weekend? Because we did talk about the NFL. We talked about the Chargers and the New England Patriots, where the line had came out originally, especially the under-over. The line came out, I think, 47 and a half, and then something changed here, and so did your point of view on this game.
On the Patriots game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so it came out. There's supposed to be 5 inches of snow, 15-degree, 30-degree weather, and 15-mile-an-hour winds in Foxborough this weekend. So the line opened at 47.5. The line actually dropped to 45, and it moved back up to 45.5. But this is one of the things that you can't really jump on really, really early because you don't know what the weather in this game right here. In the Patriots game, the weather is going to be the biggest factor that you're going to have to look at.
Now,
the weather was going to...
The weather report comes out, right? And obviously we're still 5 days away, 5-6 days away from the game taking place here. But the weather report comes out, and then is it Joe Public that comes in and starts hammering the under because they're going, oh boy, this is going to be a problem, and then Vegas is adjusting to that, or do you think that's a lot of sharp money coming in early once the weather report came out?
It'll be sharp action coming in to drop the line down. Sharp action will drop the line down, not necessarily the public, because the public doesn't know this kind of information until the day of. So a lot of people are public bettors, and they'll bet the day of the games, and they're going to bet with emotions, and they're going to bet for their team. So if you're a Chargers fan, you're going to bet on the Chargers regardless of the weather, regardless of anything. If you're a Patriots fan, you're going to bet on the Patriots line, regardless of whatever's going on.
Yep. The bottom line is knowledge is power. You want as much information as you can before making the decision. But it is something to keep in mind that the weather report moving on throughout the week, the weather report, there could be a serious a weather issue that's going to affect the outcome of that game. So you got to keep that in mind before you go ahead and place the bet. He is Jack Robinson, the full game guys. Make sure you're tailing him on Twitter at Jack_WMF. And Jack, there will be, and I've seen on your Twitter page too, those that tail you, you don't have any problem. As you get the information, I've noticed you don't have any problem sharing the different angles that you come up with during the week on these games either.
That's right. Yeah, I want to try to give people like what I'm thinking, and like what my thought process is, because I want to give as people as much information as possible, and for them to be able to make the decision on their wagers. Because the thing is I'm not on their phones or at the ticket stand or whatever. I'm not the one pushing the button on the phone. At the end of the day, they have to make their own decision on what they're going to do.
Great.
My job is to provide them with enough information and enough correct information to where they can be able to put their money on one side or the other.
Yeah.
If they're going to fade me or if they're going to tilt me.
Yep.
It's up to them. At the end of the day, it's up to them. It's their decision.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
And that's a great point. And this is exactly what we've talked about 100 times on this show before. Is that you want to gather in order to become a smarter sports investor. It's all about knowledge and understanding where people are coming from. And there are guys like Jack available. Hard to believe that they're not in it because they want to sell you a $9 trillion package and a $100,000 unit play. There are guys out there that are just trying to spread the information and spread the knowledge as best that they can to try and make all of us and try to make this industry just a better and smarter place. And you can do that by following Jack. Make sure that you're tailing him on Twitter at Jack_WMF. And more importantly, get there so you can apply to get into the groups that he is in on Facebook that are filled with other like-minded cappers. And collectively, Jack, all the guys that are in your group, man, you all have one goal in common, and that is to make smarter sports investing decisions.
That's right. That's right. It can be, because what we do at this point, what we're doing is not gambling. It's basically, we're trying to move the odds into our favor as much as possible. So in order to move the odds into our favor as much as possible on a certain game, we have to have this. We have to have this knowledge. We have to have this perception. We have to be able to cut through the silver lining and be able to help people.
And you know what? It starts by finding the people and putting yourself around other like-minded individuals and cappers. And you can do that. Start with Jack. Make sure that you guys are following him at Jack_WMF on Twitter. Make sure you're following him there. The information and the links to his groups on Facebook. Great groups, great bunch of individuals. The full game guys are there. Make sure that you subscribe. And that's what they can do, Jack. They go to Facebook. They go to the group. They can apply. And then it's once you get that application, you can obviously, you let them in, and then they're a part of the group. But ultimately, there are a few things you're not looking for in this group, and just touch base on that as well, if you could.
So what are the things that I'm not looking for? I'm not looking for touts. I'm not looking for scammers. I'm not looking for people that are fake people. I'm not looking for people that come in and say, hey, I got the lock of the week. Hey, bet the farm on this game. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Those to me that's death to me. That's not even in my realm of thinking. So anybody that you hear that says, hey, this is my lock of the week. Hey, follow me. Hey, this is my play. Blah blah blah. You don't follow people like that because they don't have the advanced understanding of how this actually works. So you actually want to follow people that know exactly what they're doing. People that at the end of the day, people that are real. I follow people that are real.
Yep.
And
people who want to get better. And people who want to get better. I mean, that's ultimately what it's about. So no touts, nobody's selling anything along those lines. If you are a handicapper right now, somebody that would like to be part of a group that you just share a whole bunch of knowledge and everybody tries to get better, then Jack is definitely somebody that you want to follow. At Jack_WMF is where to get him. And Jack, I appreciate your time, my friend. It's a big card tonight across the sports landscape. Get your ass back to handicapping and do what you do best, my friend, and thank you for your time, and I look forward to having you back on the show again soon.
I appreciate you, my brother, and we'll be capping. I might have a play come out tonight, I might not, but I'm going to be handicapping. If I do, if I don't, some it might be put out, it might not be, but just stay tuned.
That's it. You got to tell them to find out. At Jack_WMF, the full game guys. Appreciate it, Jack. Good luck tonight, man.
Thank you, sir.
I'm at the bank making money, making moves. Machines with tools and drills, making grooves. Missions impossible, that's lotsable. I'm upside down, hanging like Tom Cruise.
There you go. I want to thank Jack so very much for his time and the group. Those of you guys that were hanging out in the chat rooms there certainly do appreciate it. And make sure you're tailing. Guys like Jack there's a lot of folks out there just like that, looking for a place to be able to swap ideas, who aren't looking to buy anything, but, you want to bounce some things off of some people. And when you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, good things can happen. So hats off to Jack and the entire group there, the full game guys. Awesome stuff. Make sure you're tailing Jack on Twitter. All right, coming up, we've got Alphonse Sidney, Miami Heat Beat, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We're going to get him on here. But first, of course, we've got to get you ready for tonight's NBA action. Why? It's time for another edition of the TrendyBets.com NBA Play of the Day. 13-4 over the last 3 weeks is what we're looking at with our friends at TrendyBets.com. If you guys haven't done so, at the very least, make sure you're tailing TrendyBets.com. And make sure you head over to the website, TrendyBets.com. Get yourself take a look at what's going on there. We'll give you an opportunity to get yourself a 50% discount on an NBA package. When it comes to the NBA, college hoops, the NFL, what these guys have done, the numbers are off the charts. Transparent. Hell, here on the show alone, their free NBA Play of the Day the last 3 weeks, 13-4. You cannot go wrong. So let's take a look at who TrendyBets.com likes tonight in the NBA. They are looking at Timberwolves and Thunder. That's right, Timberwolves at the Thunder. OKC laying 8, total 227. We were just talking about this game. Here's what TrendyBets.com has come up with. The over, 6-0 in the Wolves' last 6 road games. The over, 4-1 in the Wolves' last 5 games following a straight-up win. The over, 5-2 in the Thunder last 7 home games. And the over, 4-0 in the last 4 meetings in Oklahoma City. So your TrendyBets.com NBA Play tonight, you're going over 227. That is right. Going over 227. That's what you've got there. Your TrendyBets.com free NBA Play of the Day. Make sure that you guys check him out. Make sure you check them out at TrendyBets.com. But write that down. Over 227. That is your TrendyBets.com NBA Play of the Day. And also want to thank Ralph Michaels, Wagertalk.com, for coming by. Unfortunately, I think we've lost Alphonse Sidney from the Miami Heat Beat, but we will go ahead and get him on and bring you that, get you guys caught up with what's going on with Alphonse and the 5 Reasons Sports Network there. But make sure, if you guys haven't checked it out, make sure that you check out these the interviews from earlier today. Ralph Michaels getting you caught up on college hoops. Want to thank him very much for that. And again, Ralph is the $2 capper today at Wagertalk. So head over to Wagertalk.com. Take advantage. For $2. You get Ralph's plays. It doesn't go any better than that. And of course, Jack Robinson and all the guys at the Full Game, appreciate your time very much for coming on here. Make sure you guys are tailing Jack on Twitter, and make sure you get yourselves into those Facebook groups. Hang out and meet a whole bunch of other cappers who are doing the same stuff that you are doing. And once again, we've got, in case you're just joining us and you missed it, once again, your TrendyBets.com free NBA Play of the Day. You're looking at the over 227 in tonight's Timberwolves at Thunder game. Get on that, get going, and get ready for another edition of the Joe Raineri Show tomorrow with our good friend Tony George from Doc Sports. Doc Sports Services, been handicapping since 1971. They are a leader in the industry, and those guys are fantastic. They are coming your way tomorrow. Tony George will take center stage, getting you ready for the NFL, plus some NBA and college hoops along those lines. So want to thank Tony very much for being a part of the show. Looking forward to that. On behalf of Miami Acura, iTicketHub.com, YouWager.eu, and again, make sure that you guys are heading over to YouWager.eu and get yourself set up with an account. The code is JRS50. Get yourself that account, and you will be ready to rock and roll. TrendyBets.com, Good Greek Moving and Storage, Wagertalk.com. We want to thank all you guys very much for taking the time to join us today and we ask that those of you that are new to the show or just joining us, go ahead and subscribe to our channels, like these videos, thumbs up, give us the middle finger. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference, but we want to thank you very much for taking the time to hang out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Tony George, DocSports.com. He'll be joining us, talking a little NFL, NBA, all of that good stuff, college basketball. It's all coming your way tomorrow. So enjoy the games tonight. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks very much for making us a part of your day.